Welcome to the Spy Archive. Tonight, we open a hidden page from the shadows of war, a story not found in books, nor whispered on radio waves, but buried deep in the diary of a man who lived between duty and love.
There is a certain fatigue, a certain trembling of the hands, which only those who have prowled the shadowy margins of war will recognize. In the long nights and shifting light of days spent among secrets, it comes not from lack of sleep alone, but from the double life demanded by duty. I have often wondered, when gazing from my study window, if the art of spying is truly more treacherous than the task of unmasking spies themselves. I can say this: both mark the soul, both breed solitude. This is not a story I recounted in my books, nor did I ever allude to it on the radio, in those years when I found it easier to entertain the public with charming puzzles and tales of intrigue, than to examine certain tender scars. Only in the privacy of my diary did I trust these lines, as I am trusting you now. It was December of 1918, and I was a man exhausted, though I hardly admitted it, even to myself. The first lesson of counter-espionage, they said, is to become a disciple of disinterest. Men and women who inhabit this world are recruited for disparate reasons, some for the thrill, some for pay, some because their hearts throb for their country. But those of us who oppose them must bind ourselves to a stricter creed. We are the silent soldiers on the invisible front. You must understand, I entered this life armed only with my pen, my education, and certain convictions about France. At first, my literary sensibilities were a mere amusement to my superiors, my report writing garnered indulgent praise. But as is the way in war, the bureaucratic paper gives way to more perilous labor. Soon I was tangled deep in that vast web, the coated nights, the taverns stinking of gin, the careful watch in provincial hotels, the sudden burst of violence in lovely, moonlit squares. I delivered results. Promotions loomed. But somewhere amid the blizzard of paranoia and tobacco smoke, I recognized the signs of collapse. I slept little, snapped at friends and subordinates, and found my hands trembling when I lit my ceaseless cigarettes. Perhaps you know this feeling, that feverish sense of obligation which brooks no rest. My director summoned me. André, my friend, what use is a broken sword? Even you must sleep. Take a month's leave before your nerves desert you entirely. His advice was good, his tone gentle, seasoned with humor. He promised the work would survive without me, a thought I resented, though I tried to hide it. He made light of my indignation, and, exhausted, I yielded. Go south, André. Find warmth, sunlight. Carmo is a small paradise, phoenix trees and a river that runs even in December. Leave your cares, and perhaps let yourself fall in love, if not with a woman, then at least with the quiet. Write me nothing, I beg you. Let the weak soften your heart. There was a wisdom in his teasing, and so I found myself, only days later, alighting in Carmo, the light southern wind banishing the memory of Parisian fog. The village belonged to another time, cobblestone lanes, thatched roofs, avenues of camphor trees green against the pale sky. The hotel was medieval in appearance but no less comfortable for it. The food soothed me, the staff remembered my name, and the cold seemed farther away. After 3 slow, unwatched days, my nerves began to heal. Like a schoolboy escaped from lessons, I wandered aimlessly, taking long excursions along the river's edge, content with the whisper of sunlight on water and the dull murmur of my own thoughts. On the 4th morning, as I sat at breakfast in the garden, I noticed a woman at a nearby table. Her presence was marked by quiet poise, her gaze intent upon her food, her movements as carefully measured as a dancer's. She was young, but hers was not the rough vitality of a peasant girl. Rather, she possessed the self-assurance of a city dweller, or perhaps someone trained in the art of discretion. Perhaps Paris made me bold, or perhaps it was the absence of war's shadow in that sunlight, but I soon found myself exchanging glances, then smiles. Her cheeks colored prettily, but her brown eyes did not drop. Emboldened, I asked the waiter about her. He told me, in a whisper, that her name was Marie Touchet, that she was single, in Carmo only since the new year. So, with the subtlety of one who has not yet abandoned hope of romance, I sent the waiter with my greeting. A smile answered, and within an hour, I was seated beside her at the small table, the world narrowing deliciously to her eyes and her laughter. Marie spoke with a gentle frankness that both reassured and unsettled me. I come from the east, she told me, from Mercure, near the front. The war has made everything in the village gray and cold. I had meant to come here with a friend, but she has yet to arrive. So, I am alone, but that does not trouble me. We spoke of home and family, though I let her believe my name to be André Marshak and implied my business was with the Havas News Agency. Lies came easily, one cannot survive the bureau without them. She claimed to be the daughter of a prosperous farmer, weary of village life but still sentimental for its lost peace. What followed was, you will understand, a brief reprieve from reality. We walked for hours each day, the countryside glowed in the low winter sun. We rode upon the river, our laughter echoing among the reeds, and time dilated until the ache of duty vanished and only the dawn and the twilight measured our days. I dined with her in the garden, by the warmth of the fire, and every moment with Marie reminded me that life could be innocent, if only for a little while. Perhaps the spell would have lasted longer, had not fate intervened. It was on a grey evening as rain drummed against the windows, that Marie suggested we dine in my room, a private supper, she teased, with no eyes but the fire to witness our chatter. I agreed, and the evening ebbed toward one of those moments where laughter gives way to confession and yearning. She leaned into my arms and said, with a sly smile, "Do you have a cigarette?" I hesitated. She had often scolded me for my habit, but the hour was electric with possibility. I answered, apologetically, "I forgot to buy some. Let me fetch a pack." She stopped me, saying, "No, no. There's a pack in my handbag, there, on the heater. I'll just tidy my hair." She disappeared into the adjoining room. Alone, I reached for her handbag, intending only to find the cigarettes. But my eye fell upon a letter, its envelope marked with bold German script. I felt an icy surge, a lifetime's practice of suspicion reawakening all at once. Her village, her family, her past, all cast into doubt by that one small paper. Temptation overwhelmed me. I opened the letter and read, German, crisp and official, addressed to Mademoiselle Marie Touchet. Barely had I grasped the implication when I heard her returning. Closing the bag, I composed my face, though my heart hammered. She noticed, naturally, and her concern was genuine. "André, you're pale. What troubles you?" I could not meet her gaze. The truth, so often twisted or concealed by my profession, now bound me. "Marie, I cannot stay." She stared at me, astonished. "Why? What has happened?" She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. "Please, don't make me explain. I must leave you now. If, when I return in an hour, you are still here, I will betray my duty. I beg you, do not wait for me." Her confusion hardened. "Is this some kind of cruel joke, André?" I shook my head. "No, this is no jest. I do not work for the Havas Agency. I serve in counter-espionage. My work, my life, cannot allow for this." She faltered, tears brimming in her eyes. "But I have done nothing," I stopped her. "Please. Let us not suffer more than we must. You have been wondrously kind. Let that be enough. I will not act against you unless you force me." She turned away. Without another word, I left. An hour later, I found her room empty. Only a pack of cigarettes remained, and beneath it, a note, "If you forget me, André, know that I cannot forget you. Goodbye." I returned to Paris. The city was unchanged, but I was altered. A heavy stone dragged through my chest wherever I went. I tried to throw myself into work, telling myself I had done my duty or, perhaps, exceeded it by letting Marie go. Years unspooled, as the war ground on. I became head of the bureau, stationed at Sedan. Day by day, the list of sorrows and secrets grew longer. Until one bleak afternoon, a commotion arose in the corridor. 3 soldiers entered. "Captain," said one, "we have apprehended a woman attempting to elicit military information from an officer at a tavern near Sedan. She is outside with the guards. Shall we question her here?" I nodded, heart tight. When she entered between the soldiers, I recognized her at once. Marie, her beauty undiminished by grief, her composure like a candle flame in the wind. That we found a notebook in her possession, filled with data, regimental numbers, deployment times, all written in ciphered German. There was no hope for her now. She met my gaze with quiet defiance. "It is war, Captain. What is not permitted? Love? Betrayal? Is not everything permissible, and nothing, at once?" I found myself unable to speak, my voice thickened with sorrow. No plea could save her. She offered no defense but memory. She was sentenced to die, the law demanding its price. On the evening before her execution, the guards came to me. "She asks, Captain, for a cigarette. She asks you to bring it yourself." The yard was silent as I approached her, hands trembling as they had, so many years ago. Upon a lighter flint, she took the cigarette between her lips. "One puff is enough, André. Keep the rest, as a souvenir, if nothing else, of a love not quite lost in all this darkness." I could say nothing but her name. She smiled through tears. The world held nothing but that moment, the two of us between night and day. She was gone the next morning. Even now, in my old age, I wake in the silences before dawn, haunted by the vision of Marie in her blue dress, the taste of love and loss lingering like the smoke of a single, unfinished cigarette. There is no greater tragedy than a life in which duty and love must always be chosen, but never reconciled. And so I keep the cigarette. André's story ends here, but many secrets remain untold. Like the video, subscribe to the Spy Archive and uncover what stories hidden, and join us for the next hidden chapter.